Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, this is the fourth topic of your merger and acquisition subject. So far we have discussed the different topics related to merger and acquisition. What are merger and acquisition? What are different types of merger and acquisition, and different aspect regarding all the activity. And secondly, in the last week we have discussed the historical overview of on the merger and acquisition activity all over the world. And now we this chapter or this topic will discuss the selling process, from the in the perspective of the seller. That means that when a company, or when and the CEO of the company decided to sell his company, or he wanted the company to be acquired by the other company, so he has to make a certain arrangement. First he have to make the company ready to be acquired by the buyer, and there are a number of steps which are involved in developing a comprehensive strategy relating to the sale process. So we'll discuss all the steps involved in the selling process, and what are the different activities performed by the selling team in the whole process. So we'll discuss all these things in this chapter. There are many reasons in which the owner wants to sell their business, and they don't want to further continue doing this business. So we go through different reasons of owner. They want to consider selling their business. First one is retirement. Everyone want to work, and everyone want to work for their living, but there are certain times in which the owner thinks that they don't want to work anymore. They have enough for their old age, so they want to retire. So that might be the reason. Second is undercapitalization. In certain business, a significant or a heavy amount of infusion of capital is required to increase the business, or to expand the business, or make it to the next level. So in that case, they think that they cannot further continue, so they hand it over or sell the business. Or partner dispute or divorce. That means that a partner, one of your partner or many partner have disputes among them, and they want their share of capital. So a partner needs to cash out due to dispute or divorce. So in that case, the business should be sold in order to give him his share. A third thing is reduce risk. Owner wants to reduce risk from personal guarantees or liabilities. That means that they don't want to have more risk, so or they want to reduce the amount of risk present, so they'll go for selling their business. Death or illness. Obviously, if the owner dies, so there is no one other to run the business, or if he has a serious illness and he is not in a healthy position to run the business, so they might sell their business. Or poor management. There there are the management of the current business are not capable to handle the business, and the people are the resources, and the other activities are very poorly managed. In that case, the owner might consider to sell his business. Or a new business idea. That's something in which owner want to pursue another idea, they want to pursue another market. So in order to have cash for that idea, they can sell the current business. Or burnout. Burnout means that the running business, or doing activities of the business and work of the business and indulge in business, the owner has actually exhaust, and he's overly consumed, therefore he want to sell the business. Or relocation means that some business are tied to specific location, and you cannot relocate them. So in that case, and you want to have another, you want to start in another geographical area, in that case you have to sell that particular business which is present at a specific geographical area from where it cannot be relocated. Or serial entrepreneur. Actually, serial entrepreneur is a concept of or a type of entrepreneur in which the entrepreneurs are very much qualified, and they put their full effort in starting the business and make it successful. But at the point when the business is at their peak, they sell it because they want to have cash, and they want to have start another business. So these are called the concept of serial business, in which that entrepreneur want to or has found of indulge in activities in which in which they start the business, they make initial activities, and try to make the business successful. So this kind of serial entrepreneurship might want to sell his business. Or inadequate distribution systems. Distribution system or channels are more expensive to build, and it is much easier to leverage or pre-exist distribution channel, or they don't have ability to diversify, or the wealth of the owner may be exclusively tied up within the business. So they creating a substantial personal risk. So in this case, they want to they want to indulge in selling their business. Estate planning, often with no family members as successor. A business need to be sold for estate planning purposes. Or another issue might be though your personnel, that key personnel or key customer have been lost, and the business need to be to have a new management in order to continue their operations. So these are different reasons in which the owner might consider to sell its business. Going into the detail of the selling process, once the owner decided to sell his the business, so the next step is to prepare for the sale of his company, because he want to have a good price for his company. So preparing for the sale of the company from the seller point of view, it's actually the process in which he actually start preparing regardless of the what is the motivation for selling. So it has to do certain steps. For example, they have to prepare the company for sale, mostly for the corporate housekeeping perspective, or seller. And secondly, they must anticipate the question and concerns of a prospective buyer, as he actually selling his firm. So he should understand that what are the needs and what are the concerns of different buyers. And secondly, they actually want to provide the complete review of their company and the appropriate information which is required by the buyer. And thirdly, it's very important that the buyer should have understanding of the market and the pricing parameters of in the market, that what are the appropriate price for the kind of business they are going to sell. So they cannot get too low prices, or they cannot demand too high prices. And secondly, they actually they have to develop a appropriate a comprehensive strategy in order to in order to meet his demand, and in order to understand the whole team of the sale, that what should they have to do, and what are the necessary step in order to prepare the company ready for sale for ready for sale, or presented for sale to the prospective buyer. So the key functions of the selling team are as follows. Okay, first of all, the team which is actually going to prepare for selling of the firm, is they have to identify the financial and structural goals of the transaction. As we are in the future, we are going to hand over our business, or we are going to have a merger or any other kind of activity. So what kind of financial and structural goals and what type of intentions are associated with that sale? So they have to identify that. So obviously that should be kept in mind, because there are certain vision or certain mission of the organization with the selling of that business. So that thing has to kept in mind, and if they are for certain financial benefits, financial aspects, so they should consider that while planning for the sale. Secondly, obviously they have to develop a detailed plan of action that because there is first of all they have to prepare the whole company. They prepare the present the company to the buyer, and after that in certain lapse of time the complete process of handing over the company would be taken place. So they have to develop the total action plan and the timetable of the whole transaction or the whole transition being done. Thirdly, they have to understand the current market dynamics and political pricing range for the business. That means that what are the price range of the business which they are going to sell, and what is the dynamics of the market, what are the demands of the market, what kind of companies the buyers are actually searching for. So they have to understand that thing. So according to that they have to prepare that company. Then determine who are the logical, obviously they have to determine that what are the prospective and the potential buyers who are actually being qualified for the sale, and why the business for sale would be compelling asset to each of the specific the target business buyers. That means though that what are the significant asset you have which is going to attract certain buyers, specific buyers. So that they have to prepare that asset as well, and identify the potential legal financial hurdle to successful transaction. Obviously in any market there are certain rules and regulations that follow, and while selling a large business or selling a business you have to fulfill certain financial and legal requirements. So you have to fulfill that, and for example they have to think about the problems, maybe transactional turn-offs or to prospective buyer. So as such as you can say unregistered trademarks, illegal securities sales, or different difficulties in obtaining a third party consent. So all these are certain potential legal or financial hurdles which have to identify by this team, and outline and draft the offering memorandum. Obviously they have to draft a letter of offering memorandum. So complete outline and completely draft of this offering would be the responsibility of this team. Then develop a definite to-do list in connection with corporate housekeeping matters, such as preparation of board and shareholder minutes and maintenance of regulatory filings. So these are the certain aspects which they have to consider. Then identify how and one prospective buyer will be contracted, proposed terms evaluated, and final candidates list. Obviously they have to develop a whole list of the potential buyers, and obviously they have to demand bids from them and contact with them. They have to answer their queries, and after that they have to evaluate the terms and the offer proposed by these buyers, and develop a final list of the potential candidates which are the potential buyer for your business. Now starting with the different steps which are involved in the selling process, because once the company the seller, who is actually the owner of the business, wants decided to sell the business, so there are a number of steps are involved in the whole selling process. So the first step is selecting the seller's team. This is the team of personnel which are actually going to coordinate and plan for the whole sale process. So the team will help the company's internal preparation, and overall create the offering memorandum, which actually summarize the key aspects of the company's operation, products, services, and the personnel and financial performance. And actually the offering memoranda is actually very important. It is actually a traditional business plan which actually serve as a roadmap for the seller and information tool for the buyer, because on the both aspect, the seller and the buyers who are going to purchase that business, so it contains all the information which will be helpful for the buyer to assess the process, assess the target from which actually they want to buy. So it's very important to select, carefully select the member for your selling team, and you should select those people who have the understanding of the seller's motivation, goals, and the post closing objective, because the seller is selling the business with certain intention in mind, certain future plans in mind. So it should be it should very important that the people who are going to perform all these activities, they should have the understanding of all these things. And secondly, as they are working with the industry, they have to find out the buyers from the industry, and they have to make offering from the industry. So they should have a proper understanding of the trends in the sellers industry, and they should have access to different potential buyers. They should have access to the networks of the potential buyers, future the people who are going to purchase the business, and should have a good track record and experience in merger and acquisition with emerging growth and middle market companies. And they should have an expertise with the different financial issues that might be faced by the will face prospective buyers. For example, mostly when you are completing the sale, or you are planning for the sale, so you should have complete understanding of that, what are the issues which are going to be will be created in the future. So what should be the resolution of all these issues, and no tax and estate planning issues that may affect the seller both at closing and beyond. Obviously tax issues are there, so they should know all these tax issues. Then at a min and all these issues, all these things are very important while you are going to select your team for which are going to prepare for your selling procedure. But at a minimum, the team should include the following members. Number one is investment banker or financial advisor. And investment banker or financial advisor actually are those people who can consult the seller on issues related to market dynamics, trends, potential targets, valuation, pricing, and deal structure, and assist the seller in understanding the market. Obviously they'll helping you to, so the investment banker and financial advisor are the people who can assist you on all these issues, and identify and contacting prospective buyers, and negotiating and evaluating offers. Finally, in many cases, multiple offers may have divergent structure and economic consequences for the seller. So evaluation of each offer is actually conducted by the banker. So it's very important that you should have at least these people. Then secondly, a certified public accountant, and these assist the seller in the preparation of financial statement and the related reports that the buyer inevitably request. Obviously you have to tell them, have to provide them buyer with all the financial details of your organization, which you're offering to them. So it's very important that you should have a certified public accountant. He or she advise the seller on the tax implication of the proposed transaction. The CPA also assist in estate planning and structuring compensation package that maximize the benefit associated with proposed transaction. So then last one is your legal counsel. The transactional attorney is responsible for the wide variety of duties, including assisting a seller in pre-sale corporate housekeeping, which involves cleaning up corporate records, developing strategy for dealing with dissident shareholders, and shoring up third-party contract, working the investment banker, helping evaluate competing offers, and assist in the negotiation and preparation of the letter of intent and confidentiality agreements, such as the potential buyers, and actually who proves to access the who are actually provided access to the seller's books and records, negotiating definitive purchase agreement which buyers counsel, working for the seller and the CPA in connection with certain post-closing and state and tax planning. So the legal counsel will actually provide you all these services in order to complete the sale, and in order to completely plan for the sale of your business. Now, step two is actually associated with the action plan. As you have developed a complete plan in the first phase, in the first step, which is actually being developed by your selling team, which have your investment bankers, you have a legal counsel, and you have a certified public accountant. So they have they and many other members actually have planned and develop a total action plan and timeline for the sale of your business. So the next step is the action plan. So it is actually a natural outcome of the meeting with the deal with the deal with the deal team. It is important to be realistic about the time investment required and expected amount of time required to complete the transaction, because many deals actually completed in 60 to 90 days, but it is very common that the sale process actually take place of, approximately in more than 6 months or more. So an action plan can help ensure that the process runs smoothly and should outline the list of the major milestones and expected completion dates. So actually the step in which the plan which is being developed should be executed properly, and the managers or the selling team, it is make it sure that all the milestones are actually taking place within their specified time period, and all the things are done approximately nearly the time which is actually being expected in the plan. So this is the second step in which the plan is being executed and the total deal and sale take place. The third step is market dynamics and valuation. As you are in a process of offering your company to the market, so it's very important to understand the market dynamics and what are these market dynamics which can probably affect the value of your firms. So, market trends and merger and acquisition activity provide great insight into whether a sector is lucrative, whether there are the valuation of you can get a with high value for your company in which you are offering, or there are certain things which are affecting the value of your firm. So understanding industry structure, its growth, and or driver of consolidation trends, and many other macro and economic conditions like your oil prices, your business trends, business cycles, interest rates, that can set the stage for more detailed valuation analysis. So value is very much important issue for buyers and sellers, both of them. The buyers who are in the market in order to acquire in many firms, and the sellers who are going to sell their firms. So these market dynamics and analysis and many other trends are both alike for buyers and sellers. So valuation is not actually precise science. It is both depend upon many objective and subjective beliefs and assumption about the future performance of the business in question. So the value of firm is mostly based upon what the seller is willing to get, and and what is he offering. And like for example, if you look into the real estate, so the houses can be valued by real estate appraisals, that, and they can clearly state that how much a house is valued or any other property is valued. But you can say that for in the kind of when we talk about businesses which are being offered in the market, so how can we value those firms? So there are many evaluation techniques which will help us to understand the value of certain things. That might be your looking into your financial statements, or the net present value valuations, and different trends and different techniques which will help you, which will give the trends for you for future, which will give you the simulation and you can say forecasting of your future, the future sales of the potential business of any other business which you are offering for sale. So these valuation techniques can now help us to evaluate our business and get a good and identify the value of the firm, but based upon the different market dynamics and also the internal potential of the company. After valuation and after identifying the true value for the company, the next step is to design a target list. And what is a target list? It is a key step in any merger and acquisition activity process, that they can develop a whole list of potential acquirers, the people who are you think that would be interested in the purchase of your business. So the first step in generating a target list is determining the set of categories of companies that would be likely to interesting in the selling entity. For example, if you're offering any kind of food outlet, so what kind of different categories of businesses would be willing to buy that thing? So once all the potential categories are determined, it is relatively too straightforward exercise to determine which company belongs to each of these categories. After the initial target list is created, the next is to apply a logical filter out to reduce the set to a more focused set of buyers. So companies that clearly cannot afford to purchase the company for sale were recently acquired themselves or have never purchased a business before, are inferior acquirers to the companies with strong balance sheet that have a strong history of successful buying and integrating. So obviously, in a list, if we look into the history of those companies, we could do the different details of the companies. So the companies which were the successful acquirers of different companies are the would be our potential customer or potential buyers, and the companies who don't have any merger and acquisition activity, and they don't have you look if you look into their financials, so that you don't find any potential financial I guess financial capability of that firms are not very strong, so there would be eliminated from the target list because they would not be the potential buyer of the company. So this step is actually to design the whole list of the people to identify the potential buyer for your selling entity. After the fourth step, the next step is that the main emphasis or the main purpose of this step is to find out any legal deficiencies or anything which has to be done before offering your the company to the buyer, because it's very embarrassing that any kind of legal diligence or any kind of legal deficiencies could be find out by the buyer, because it not only delay the process but is also very costly. So this is the pre-sale legal audit, and it should be conducted in order to assess the state of the company. And it's actually find out the main purpose is to find out the problems that is associated by the associated with legal perspective, like for example corporate housekeeping and administrative measures, and different status of the buyer sellers intellectually property and key contracts. So the goal is to find the bugs before the buyer's counsel discovers them for you. Because it's very costly and embarrassing when the buyer find out these deficiencies. So, and you have to find out as many legal deficiencies as possible before consulting any buyer or at least first buyer. So for example, you have to this is the time to resolve any kind of dispute with your minority shareholders, or complete any deficiencies regarding your copyright, your trademarks, or find or get a consent from the third party that is necessary before closing your transaction, such as your landlord, your vendors, your suppliers, your customers, etc. So in many cases, there are contractual provisions that can prevent an attempt change in control without such consent. So for those bugs that can be exterminated, don't try to hide them under the carpet. That means that those activities which can create problem in the future, so you cannot hide them from your buyers. If you have certain litigation or certain legal requirement which you can fulfill, and it's possible for you to fulfill before the sale, so you can do it. But if there are certain things or certain matters which you cannot do it right now, discuss those activities and discuss those matter with your potential buyers or the probable buyers, so they can make the necessary arrangement in the future. And it's not only create a very atmosphere of cooperation and trust, but also increase the price of, or increase the trustability of your buyers. So it's the legal audit should include the examination of certain key ratios such as debt to equity, turnover, and profitability. And you should carefully see your cost controls, overhead management, and profit centers to ensure the most productive performance. So the audit may also uncover certain slopes of or self-interest business practices that should be changed before you sell the company. So this strategic re-engineering will help build value and remove unnecessary clutter from the financial statement and operations. So it's very important. The legal audit is very important because it not only clarify, or it only help to complete all the legal issue regarding the company, but it also helps to streamline the future options for the company. After conducting a detailed legal audit, the next step is to prepare the offering memorandum. So this is the sixth step of the preparation process, and this is actually a marketing strategy which will help to attract probable future prospective buyers. So this strategy includes developing a detailed profile of your ideal buyer, and also it will help to identify how and when the buyer will be identified, and they determine and it also determine that who will be the probable person who will going to meet these potential buyers, and the other set of initial materials to be given to potential buyers and their advisors. So these initial materials are also referred to as the offering memorandum, and this offering memorandum should include the executive summary of your company, the market opportunities, the history of the company, the business overview, product, service offered by the company and their prices, and the manufacturing procedures, and what are the activities involved in the manufacturing, distribution channels, and different type of vendors and different kind of wholesalers and resellers, retailers involved in the procedures, the different type of sales and marketing activities performed by the company, their growth strategy, and their comparative landscape, the potential competitors, and the different comparative strategies being adopted by the company, and what are the things which are threatening the company through its competitors, and what are the different competitive situations regarding your suppliers and your buyers, and different other retaliation of your buyers. Then management team and organization overview. Obviously management team is there, they are performing different activities regarding the company, so you have to give the detailed list of the management team, that who are at different hierarchy level of the company, and organizational overview, overall the organizational structure and overall the whole structure of the company, and risk and litigation, that what are the risks associated with the company, what are the business and financial risks, and historical financial information that would be include different financial statements, and cost and operational activities, and different kind of ratios, and projected financial performance. Obviously these are the financial performance which will give the overview for the company, that what would be the future of the company, so that you will give them projected financial statement, and any other kind of supplementary material which can be helpful in assessing the your company. And the offering memorandum is used as a sale tool for the business, and this is a key opportunity to translate the company's attitudes, the size and growth of the market, and the potential profitability. However, the company must be presented accurately with the fair portrayal of the problems and challenges that the company faces. So this is something very much important, as you are offering your company and you want a best price for your company, so you should be very fair enough. You could provide a clear picture of the company, the current status, and what would be the future opportunities. So it should be very clear, because it will create an atmosphere of trust, and help to clear the later steps in the selling process. Now the seventh step is to getting the house in order. That means that now you have done all the prerequisite things. You have identified all the litigation issues. You have identified different prospective buyers, and you have offering makeup offering memorandum. So now the next step is to getting the house in order. That is a key step before marketing the company, is ensuring that business is ready for sale. So you have to look at the process, and you have to find out all the question, and you have to answer those questions, and find out any loopholes, and develop a definite to-do list in connection with corporate housekeeping matters, such as a preparation of board and shareholders minutes and maintaining of regulatory filing. Because once the process started, you have a very little time for completing these kind of activities. So it's very important to, before offering your company and before you are going to offer the make a proper offer, you have to complete your in-house activities. And because once your the process of selling start, and you have getting into you started with the transition process, in that time you cannot be going, you are not have you have do not have enough time to complete these matters. So it's very important to find out any loopholes, find out any deficiencies, and fill out these deficiencies before make a final offer. No, the eighth step is the game plan. Because in the previous all the steps, the selling team have make preparation for the transaction, and they have completed the whole process. Now the process is going to be executed, and this is the time that we decide that how the process should be managed. So the major decision in this stage is that you have to decide that whether the whole procedure is just like in a formal auction. Because when we talk about a formal auction, so it is actually a process in which the different standardized material and information about the company would be shared with the large audience, and also they also provide the target and specific date of the management meetings, and timing of different offers which are due. So this formal process can lead to very productive and positive results. Because many buyers, or mostly no a number of buyers, don't like an auction. But when we are going to practice this procedure of the auction, it will actually highlight different potential buyers, and it will tell us the most potential buyer who value your company, and who are valuing the transaction more than the other, who will not who are not actually interested in your company. Secondly, a less formal approach, that is not like in not is actually it's not like an auction, but it's give you a similar result in auction, is that you will have an investment banker, and this investment banker coordinates informally with identified potential buyers, and ensure that all the target buyers are contacted simultaneously. Secondly, when each of the target buyer is examined, and find out that which buyer would be a strategic fit, and providing them communication and marketing material that is actually tailored to that specified buyer, which will that will give you actually a more productive result. And there are a number of benefits associated with this kind of approach. Number one is that when each buyer is different, and you are providing them tailored messages, obviously you can have a large number, they can review a large number of deals, and they can easily evaluate their deal, and find out that how they can bestly be benefit with different options. And this more focused communication will obviously give better result to both parties, buyers and sellers. Secondly, when we talk about the transaction, so each transaction pair of buyers and seller, when there are people who are selling their firm, and there are people who want to buy their firm, each buyer and seller come with different intentions. So obviously the synergies between these different pairs of buyers is also different. So you have to ascertain all these things. And if the seller actually want to maximize their value from the buyers, so they have to understand all the synergy available, and it's actually very crucial for them. So investment banker can interact with many target buyers, and they have the experience of contacting with all different kind of buyer in the past. So they can need a less structured process, because they can with the help of their experience, they can get more direct feedback from the proposed transaction, which will be not be solicited in the form of a more structured kind of process. And lastly, the last option might be the direct contact between the CEO of both the firms, the buying firm and the seller firm. So this actually a very rare option, because in the case of price negotiation, it could be not very good, because there are lots of emotional and personal roadblock to this productive discussion. But we can appoint I can say an intermediary who can preserve good relationship, and which can help to interact between both of the CEOs of buying and firm, in order to get better results. Now everything is being completed, and you have gone through different aspects of your offer, but it's very important to before contacting the potential customer, you should have an internal pre-sale legal audit, and find out any good or bad things, or any ugly things in your detailed memorandum, and before going to contract to a potential customer. Because if you find out these loopholes, and find out the problems, and find and resolve the problems, so it will help to increase your offering price. And obviously you must have to conduct a strategic re-engineering step to order to build value of the company. And there are many other mistakes which might decrease the value of the of your company. So it's very important that you should properly re-engineer and reposition the company and before you're going to present your company for sale. And you have to make certain hard decisions. You have to go through different critical financial ratios, like for example your inventory turnover ratio, your growth, your profitability ratios, and many other risk mitigating techniques, which might identify certain kinds of risk, which will help you to uh, help you to minimize many other many loopholes of the of your companies, and maximize the benefit of your benefits for your buyers, which actually ultimately increase the price of your offer. So we can look at different mistakes which might have an adverse effect on your selling price. So first of all, being impatient and indecisive. That means that if you are showing very eagerness, or you are very eager to sell your company, and making things in a hurry, and making decision, and contacting rigorously with the buyers and your customers, so it will give a very bad picture to the buyer, and they think that there might be some problems with your company. That's why you are very much impatient and decisive. So in that case, the value or the offer price would be lower, as compared to if you feel a patience, and if you did not show any eagerness for selling your company. Secondly, when we talk about making a decision, or disseminating the sale of the information of sale of your company to your employees or to your stakeholders, so you have to find out right time, because if you disclose things too early, So it creates a sense of a sense of insecurity to the employees, and then they might try to find out new jobs. Or if you tell them to later in a very stage, so that will decrease their trust, and they feel very bad about about the company. So making the decision at right time and telling the others, disseminating information at right time is very important. Seeing the nature of your employees, seeing the personality or the intentions of your employees, you can reveal the information at right time in order to get better benefits from your sale. Then retaining third party transaction with people you are related to. That means that you have many people, you have many third party, like your suppliers, like your distributions, so distribution channels. So if there are relationships that will not carry over the new owner, shed those ghost employees and family members in any other relationship. They should follow you out the door once the deal is secured. So it's very important that you should retain third party transaction which you are related to. Then leaving loose end, that means that there are certain minority shareholders and interest, so that the new owner won't have to contend with their demands from the sale. So in that case, you can purchase these minority shareholders, and may end up any loose end if you have, so in order to make the deal benefit for your buyers. So secondly, forgetting to look in your backward, that means seeking out potential buyers. Look for those who may have vested interest in acquiring control of your company, such as your key customer, employers, or vendors. So find out the people who are around you and they are willing to buy your company. So that would be better, that they will get that thing. So find out the people which are in your around you. Then diluting yourself or your potential buyers about the risk or weaknesses of your company. That means that your credibility is on the line. So loss of trust by the potential buyer usually means that he will walk away from the deal. So that means that you have to tell them about the weakness, risk, all the things very clearly to your customer, your potential buyer, because you want to retain trust between both of them, and you want to complete the deal on time and very safely to get the better benefit of your transaction. There are certain other considerations which the seller have to keep in mind while offering their business for sale to the potential buyers. Some of the consideration are the number one are the importance of recasting, and this is actually related to financial recasting, because the buyer is very much interested in your business, and obviously he is interested in the future performance of your business. So you should be it's very important that buyers actually we provide a potential profits for your business, and they actually are interested in the real earning of the business. When you recast your financial statement, it will actually shows that how your business looks, if it is philosophy match with the public corporation, and in which the profits and earnings are maximized. So when you are offering on as part of your offering memorandum, you should recast your financial statement for the preceding 3 years. For example, adjust the salary and benefits to prevailing market levels, eliminate personal expenses, like for example expensive car leases, or different country club dues, etc., and exclude non-working family members. That's something important. Recasting present the financial history of your business in a way that the business can understand, the buyer can understand it translate your business past into a valuable saleable future, and it allows sophisticated buyers the opportunity for meaningful comparison with other investment consideration. So first of all, recasting of your financial statement. Secondly, selling the pro forma. That means when you are selling your business, the price of your the price of your business, or the price the buyer is willing to pay, depends on the amount and quality of information you are providing regarding your profits, your potential future projections, and the capital requirements, and different other aspect of your future, of the future of your business, which you are going to sell to the buyers. So you can provide them the profit and loss statement, like balance sheet, cash flow, and working capital requirements for each over a 5 years planning period, and use this document plus the enhanced value of your business at the end of 5 years, and calculate the discounting value of company's future cash flow. So this establishes the primary economic return to the buyer for his acquisition investment. Then lastly, pre-qualifying your buyer. That means you are offering your business, and obviously the buyer have some intentions in mind. So they have their own plans. You have to ascertain that once your business is bought by the buyer, what are their future plans, and which obviously you have to see that after buying your business, what they are planning to do, and how they are how they will integrate the business into their own structure or in our business. So by identifying and understanding the post closing plans of potential buyer, and post closing synergies which they want to have after the purchase, you can qualify different buyers, and based upon that you can modify your memorandum or modify your offer according to their future plans. So these are certain other consideration while you are offering your business to the potential buyers.